So this is my testimony about something really cool that happened the night before Heaven Fest. To give you a backstory a little bit, I had surgery on my elbow on July 11th, and I was having a lot of pain. I had to fill this up with ice, and I was on pretty heavy narcotics and ibuprofen for the 2.5 weeks before Heaven Fest, which was July 28th. On July 27th, I decided to take a towel and wad it up so that I would have some extra padding for the day, because I knew that there was potential of 30,000 people, and there's going to be people that I wanted to see, and so I wanted to have some extra padding. I put it under my sling on Friday night. My plan was to wrap it around me and just make this whole area very obvious that this was a no-touch zone. But Friday evening, I just had it behind me, and I had this all packed with ice, and I was a little nervous about people touching it because I still had my steri strips on and my wound was still pretty fresh. Friday evening, we had a meeting with all of the pastors that were going to be stage pastors at Heaven Fest, and there was a man there from Tennessee. He had flown in from Tennessee, and his name was Chad. And during the time when we were breaking up and praying into our individual stages, I kind of just sat back and just watched everybody pray and having a good time. And he comes over to me and he starts interviewing me. And he's asking me some very medical questions about my injury. First, he asked me if it was my shoulder, and I told him no, it was my elbow, and that it was severe tendinosis, and that I had just had surgery. And he was asking me very detailed questions. I thought that perhaps he was a surgeon by day and pastor by night. When we got to the end of his questions, he asked me if it would be okay for him to pray for me, because he said that morning when he was in prayer in Tennessee that God had told him, you're going to meet a woman who is in a sling with extra padding. Remember, I had extra padding with me. He said that you are going to pray for this woman that her healing speeds up. And he said, I think you're the one, so can I pray for you? I said, sure. And my husband Glenn was right next to me, and before we started praying, this is about as far as I could get. I could get my fingers out to about here. I could wiggle these two fingers, and I could wiggle my pinky, but I could not wiggle my middle two fingers. So we began praying, and right away he said, what can you feel? And I could pull my hand out all the way. And that was pretty cool right there. But he said, no, we're not done. And we kept praying and kept praying. And pretty soon my arm just felt like a dough was being pushed out. And just a substance was being pushed out as he prayed for the curse of pain to be gone and for the healing to speed up. And each time he would stop and say, how's it going? And say, well, I can feel it about here. He'd say, well, we're not ever going to pray again. We prayed till the dough feeling got to about my wrist. And I was happy. I mean, because I was moving my fingers and I hadn't done that. And he said, we're not done yet. We're going to pray one more time. The last time he prayed, I felt my hand was in this position, and I felt water just trickling down the top and the bottom. Now, we're in a church. There's no water anywhere. And he says to me, that's what we're looking for. By the time we were done praying, I could move my hand, my arm. It was amazing. During prayer, I had my arms around my husband, and he gets done. He says, so how are you doing? And I said, well, I'm holding you. And he said, you are. And so that was pretty cool. I kept it in my sling, though, for the rest of the festival, just because, like I said, I still have my steri strips on here, so my wound was still open. I just didn't want to get dirt and everything in it. The cool thing about that was people would see my sling and they'd say, "So, what happened to you?" And I'd say, "Well, let me tell you, I got a healing." And so I got to share a real miracle of healing with security guard, an officer. I got to witness to bands and to Heaven Fest staff and to my family. I went home that night. My kids were in the hotel, and threw my sling off and started hugging each one of them. I said, "Look, Mommy's hugging you with 2 arms." And the cool thing about the story is Friday morning, while Chad was in Tennessee, I was here in Colorado, and I was praying, "Lord, thank you for surgery. Thank you that I can have surgery. But you know what? I'm really impatient. Can you just hurry this up, please?" And that's exactly what he told Chad to do, was to pray for my healing to speed up. Now, note to self for next time, if God can speed up healing, then he can take care of it 100%. So next time I'm just going to ask for 100%. But here is my arm, just 1 month and 3 days later. I still have some bruising, but it is almost completely sealed. The scar is a hairline, and when I went to physical therapy the first couple of times, my therapist, who had known me for a year, this injury happened in April of 2011, and it's now August of 2012. He'd been doing physical therapy on me for, well, it's been a year now. When I came in, and he started working my wrist and my arm, all you could say was, "Wow, wow." And so I just want to give all praise to Jesus. I want to thank Chad for listening to God and going out on a limb and praying for me, because that was really cool. And I also want to just say thank you to Glenn, because he was sitting next to me and he said that he felt the Lord tell him, "Just believe." And because 3 of us gathered in Jesus' name, I am on the road to recovery, and it is not going to be 6 to 8 months for me to get back on track. So there you go. My God is not dead. He is very alive.